There are over 300 characters in MCoC currently, and as you'd probably expect, some of them would probably fly under the radar compared to a lot of the top end of the game. When champions like Onslaught, like Photon, like Cosmic Ghost Rider, champions like those who just destroy everything exists in the game, it makes it to where a lot of the champions who are below them have a hard time to shine. But in this video, I'm hoping to bring light to some of those champions lower down the line, because there are truly many characters in this game who do great things that you might not entirely know about. And so in this video, I'm going to rank the top 10 most underrated champions in MCoC that I personally ranked. My list might not be correct, it's just the picks that I decided on, and it's just completely my opinion, so you can feel free to disagree if you want, and do tell me your most underrated picks for champions in MCoC as well in the comments section. But with that being said, here is my top 10 that I decided on, and we're going to start today with number 10, which is Infamous Iron Man. And Infamous Iron Man's a champion that I've played a lot. All of these characters I've played a lot, except for one of them, which we'll get to later. But I do have extensive knowledge on pretty much all the characters I'm going to be talking about. And Idoom is one that I think is definitely could be considered underrated. And I'm showing him against Bishop here, which is his target matchup. But it's obviously important to note that he is not limited to Bishop at all. He does pretty good job against a bunch of different defenders, some mutant ones like Mr. Sinister as well he's good for. And then this is in a meta where he does have extra attack from the Stun Reflect node, giving him more attack, so do take his damage for these fights with a grain of salt, but his power control is what's really good about Idoom. It is pretty strong power control. It's not like the most strong power control in the game naturally. If it was, then he probably wouldn't be on an underrated list, but it's pretty decent. Like, you're gonna do some nice power burn on your special 2. You also have a long fight rotation, or maybe not a long fight, but more a substantial power control rotation on your special 3, where you can just special lock the opponent for an extended period of time, so that's also really good. I don't show the special lock rotation, but it does exist and it's very strong for some fights. But the power burn itself is really good. Sentinel is actually going to reduce the potency of power burn because of his analysis charges in this fight, but Idoom doing like most of his damage in bursts of red is pretty good for Sentinel, especially when we're doing it in a effect that Sentinel isn't immune to, like Shock. So yeah, I really like Idoom. I think he's definitely an underrated champ. And now we're going to move on to number 9, which I think is the newly buffed Phoenix. And newly buffed is definitely a key thing to say here, because part of the reason that she might be underrated is because she's newly buffed. Not a lot of people know the strength of Phoenix yet, but a lot of people do have Phoenix, so they can play her and test her out to try to find that out. And I definitely played an extensive amount of Phoenix when she first got buffed and they dropped the 7-star version, and I can safely say I think she's a very strong champion that not a lot of people recognize yet. She's very good for long fights. Her damage is very high, and for medium fights too. Her damage is very good for medium fights. For short fights, it's not the best. Like, I wouldn't be putting her in a bunch of my BG's decks, but if it's a game mode where time isn't extremely essential, which is pretty much only Battlegrounds, she's going to do a really good job. And she's also good for virtually every single tech champion who can be incinerated, such as Zola. She's also good for Sentinel. She's also good for Red Skull, Arcade, all these tech defenders who are really strong as long as they can be incinerated. So, like, don't use her for Phantom Man or something. She is going to absolutely smoke them. And then the heavy charge utility is just super good for Zola and stuff. So yeah, I think Phoenix is incredibly underrated. I want her to get more prominence, and hopefully that'll happen in the future. Number 8, we're putting Purgatory, and this might sound like a weird one, because granted, Purgatory's been getting a big resurgence recently, and I feel like a lot of people do know about her resurgence. But why I think she's underrated is because not only do I think that she is an incredibly underrated champion, I think she is legitimately top 5 in her class. Like, probably like the 5th or 6th best, maybe, Mystic in the entire game. And a lot of people are seeing that she's really good now, but I don't think as many people are seeing her like in the top 5 or top 6 like I do. So I'm using her against this Onslaught here. It shows off a decent bit of utility. She's got a bunch of energy resist. She also has the slow for the Mixmaster node here. She also has some power steal against Onslaught and stuff. She is just an absolute menace. Her damage is so good. She has so many different utility pieces against so many different classes. And yes, she is becoming way more popular, but I do think that she is legitimately even underrated now, because I think she is so much stronger than people give her credit for, even with her resurgence. So that's why she's at number 8. And then kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum, I do think that number 7, White Tiger, is not as good as Purgatory, but is definitely more underrated than Purgatory. So I think White Tiger is going to make a resurgence soon. Again, Dark Phoenix definitely brings out some of the utility pieces that White Tiger has. Her power control is very good. It's similar to Idoom's in that matter, but a little bit different. And then she also has very good heal steal, which is funny how I worded that, but she does basically steal healing from the opponent when she has that bleed active from her SP2. And that's really good because against Dark Phoenix, when she does her Nova Flame, when she's immortal, she's going to try to heal the Nova Flame damage that you're taking. But White Tiger instead steals that back as long as the bleed's on the opponent, so that's pretty nice. I did mess up a little bit there where like I did push her red and she kind of ran into my special 1, which helped me out there, but you can do that fight without Dark Phoenix ever throwing a special. I just didn't play it as safely as possible and kind of looked out at the end, but there's a lot more White Tiger stuff I want to show sooner or later, so we'll be seeing more of that. And then number 6, pretty quick one. This one's going to be Black Panther Civil War. Black Panther isn't a champion who has a lot of utility, but what he does have is some of the craziest damage in the entire game. Because you're going to see me fight this Bullseye here, and we're going to kill Bullseye before Bullseye can drop more than 1 special 1. Like, we're going to block 1 special 1, make sure to parry it to gain some extra charges, and then that's going to be basically it. Like, we're going to get to my special 2, and then heavy, cancel into it, and Bullseye's dead before he can do anything else. So yeah, we lost a little bit of health from blocking 1 SP1, but look at this damage. Like, it's completely ridiculous that SP2 completely nukes the crap out of Bullseye, and that's why Black Panther is pretty underrated, because if he can ramp up his charges and you don't need specific utility pieces or RPG against some defenders, or you can just kill him really fast, he's really, really good. So yeah, Black Panther at number 6. Number 5, I'm putting Arnumzola. And it's important to note that none of the rankings I'm doing in this video have any defender potential involved in them. I'm purely calling them underrated based off of what they do on attack. And I think Arnumzola is one of the most underrated attackers right now, and he needs to be recognized for that, because this guy has a lot of damage. He has really, really good fight control, because if you're fighting a champion like Sinister, Arcade, Enchantress, Nick Fury, where you don't want them to drop their SP1 and you want to push them to special 2, Arnumzola's special 1 lock is going to be your best friend, because against Sinister there, we just made it to where he can't drop SP1 and then nuked the crap out of him because Zola's damage is really good. Now we're going to do number 4, which is Beta Ray Bill. Beta Ray Bill's damage for long fights is completely absurd, and I think a lot of people might be aware of that. But some really, really good utility pieces that Beta Ray Bill has is the fact that he's a Cosmic Champion who does not rely on any debuffs, so that's really good for a lot of nodes. It means that, like, techs on debuff immune nodes, that Bill is one of the best options for, because a lot of Cosmics now do place some debuffs on the opponent, so techs are often going on debuff immune nodes, but Beta Ray Bill is there to save the day. He's very, very good for that. He also has really good utility in the span of Grit, which is a really, really good effect, basically ignoring all unstoppable, and you can have it for pretty much the whole fight if you charge a heavy attack. And then also Steady. This is something very unique to Bill, because Steady is a buff that only Beta Ray Bill has currently, and what it does is it means that Beta Ray Bill cannot be glanced, which is really, really cool. So he also has some really good immunities, both being shock, power drain, and also he is going to reduce the potency of bleed and poison, which is super cool for some hazard shift interactions as well. And overall, he's just really, really solid. He has some great damage in medium fights, really good damage in long fights, very similar to Phoenix. I think I'd use Phoenix in long fights a bit more, but I think Beta Ray Bill has much better utility than Phoenix, which is partially why he is up here. And yeah, you're going to see this special one completely wipe this Gwenpool out here, and that's part of why Beta Ray Bill is at number 4. Now, number 3, I'm going to put Silver Sable. I do have some text there because this is coming from my own video that I uploaded before. This is Silver Sable versus a Photon on Hazard Shift, Incinerate, and Shock. And the reason that Sable is underrated is because she has some of the best ability accuracy reduction in the entire game versus Science Champs. With your heavy attack, you're going to place a passive Disorient for 18 seconds, and it is 100% potency, meaning that once you drop this heavy attack, if you're fighting a Science Champion, you are going to be completely ignoring all of their defensive abilities, and that includes nodes like Hazard Shift here. So Photon cannot place a Shock, an Incinerate on me, she can't place debuffs on me when I hit her, so she's not gaining her Pure Light charges except for when she drops a special attack. And it's just really, really good. Like, I think that if Science had more defenders, then Silver Sable would be more popular. It's just, unfortunately, Science doesn't have a lot of good defenders. Like, she's very good for Thing as well. You can just shut off the rock stacks, and Ibomb can shut off the poisons getting placed on you, but yeah, it's just there's not enough defenders in the Science class to really show off Sable, which hopefully will change in the future. Spider-Woman's out now, and she's looking like she could be a good defender, so we'll see about that. But Sable, yeah, she doesn't have like the strongest Disorient against non Science Champs, but still the prominence that has against Science Champs and just how good she is at completely destroying Photon is totally worth mentioning, and I think she's a very underrated champ. Also very underrated damage. I didn't even talk about that yet, but she has some really good damage potential too with those shocks. So number 2, this is actually coming from an alliance mate of mine, this fight, because he has a rank 4 SpiderPunk, which I think is really, really cool. And SpiderPunk has a really cool piece of utility that not a lot of people realize how strong it is. And I think the main thing that is really good for Punk is he's doing a lot of damage just by getting the opponent to drop a special attack, which is like similar to Power Sting, but also you don't need to place Power Stings when you're playing Punk. You just need the opponent to drop a special attack and they're going to get punished. It's not like Pig where you use a medium to place them. It's not like Spider-Woman where you use a special one to place them. Punk just baits a special attack and the opponent is just going to get punished for it. And against champions with power efficiency like Sentinel and some other champs like Onslaught, where especially dexing specials, you get more potency on your ruptures by doing it that way. You are just absolutely livid when they are spamming their specials because they're just nuking themselves to death with those ruptures from your Sig ability. And also he's rupture immune, and he's one of the very few rupture immune champs in the entire game. But number 1 is going to be Vox, and this is not something that I think I alone stand by. I swear, if I was like to go look at my comments section and see what are people saying is like the most underrated champ in the game when I upload content on this champion, it's always Vox. Vox has so much support in my comment section and I love it. So if you've made a comment saying Vox is a really underrated champion, I super appreciate that, because I 100% agree with you, and you're part of the reason that Vox is at number 1 on my list, because Vox destroys virtually every single tech champ in the entire game. He has amazing utility because Undermine, he is the best auto block counter in the game, and he has like a permanent effect of it. He also can have a permanent effect of Vigilance, which just means that he's not going to have to miss ever. Degen is one of the best sources of damage in the game because almost no one is resistant or immune to it. and it just allows him to get past all the armor, all the resistances on basic attacks that a bunch of defenders have, and it just makes him super strong to know that that degen is carrying you and making your damage so good. And just like a bunch of the other cosmics on this list, Vox's short fight damage is not the best, which is why he's probably underrated, because a lot of people write him off for that, but his medium and long fight damage is insanely good. And even his short fight damage is very good. Like, you're seeing me destroy a bunch of these BG's defenders here with Vox. And that's partially because we're punching down, because my Vox is rank 4. But if you have a Vox that can punch down, you are absolutely livid, because his damage is so good when he can do that. So anyway, that is my top 10 most underrated champions in the game. Do tell me some of your most underrated champions in the comment section, and let's discuss it, because again, these are just my 10. Some of these you might not agree with, but these are the picks that I have, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I called out a few of your favorites that you want to see more love as well. So thank you guys for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next video.